Rachel and Kayla from Small Towns and City Lights. Thank you very much, Rachele Lynae, for taking time to speak with us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
To start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got started in the music industry?
You know, I actually started singing about the same time that I started talking. So when I got started, it's a difficult question, but I started singing when I was really, really little, and I would take every opportunity, whether it's talent shows or singing in church, or there was a girls' choir that I was a part of, and always auditioning for the solos, you know. So I started professionally touring, and that was really my summer job in high school. So.
And now you're not from the Nashville area, so was country always something kind of in your mind, or were you, maybe starting out pop, rock? How did you end up here?
I've always been a country music fan as well as a country music singer. I grew up with my dad playing, Merle Haggard and Waylon and Dan Seals and Willie. After dinner, almost every night, he'd pick up his guitar and play these songs, and so that just really was home for me from the beginning. I grew up in Kodiak, Alaska, and there weren't necessarily like a ton of country music fans there, but in our family, that's what we listened to. So.
And you're currently working with Jamie O'Neal, who is a
I
big name. What is that like, and how did that relationship end up coming together?
Well, I was actually a huge fan of Jamie's before we ever met, before we started working together. She was the first artist that I was a fan of as an artist, as well as a songwriter. I mean, I dove into her album and dissected it to learn how to write music. And then when I was 13, I met her dad actually, and we had stayed in touch, but not in super close contact. Just I tried to invite him out to shows, and then he'd be out of town once I moved to Nashville. And finally, I got coffee with him once I graduated from college. And I was just wanting to pick his brain. I gave him an EP, and I told him, if you believe in this, then help me out. And he drove away, and he must have popped it right in the CD player, because he called me in 10 minutes and was like, Rachele, I had no idea. And so he set up a meeting with Jamie, and we hit it off immediately. I went to her house, and I was afraid that I would be nervous, but she embraced me with open arms. We ended up sitting there and jamming for a long time. And then we were writing together, and before you know it, she's producing me, and the rest is history.
That's incredible. Well, can you tell us a little bit about the songwriting process, how all of that works out?
Sure. I think for different songwriters, the process is different, but for me, it usually comes from a story in my life, in a co-writer's life, or in my friends' lives. Of course, you can be inspired by anything. You could watch a movie and something could really resonate with you, and you could write about it. But for me, a lot of times, someone will be telling me a story that's going on in their life, and I'll be like, wow, that'd make a great song.
Is your process you kind of just sit down, do you write the whole song at once, or is it a more long, drawn-out process, or how do you work that way? Do you just kind of spit out just different things and then try to mash it together? Or?
That's a great question. Honestly, different songs work differently. A lot of times, in Nashville, we have co-writing sessions where we'll get together with another writer, or sometimes a couple of other writers, and we'll write for 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. And a lot of songs do take 2 writing sessions, but a lot of them only take 1. And I mean, I've sat down at my piano before and cranked out a song that was almost completely done in an hour.
Wow.
But that's just some songs, and other songs you can write on it for days and days, months, before it's done. It's not ready to be born yet.
Now, you mentioned Jamie O'Neal was, one of the big people that inspired you. Who would you say, living or dead, would be your dream person to collaborate with?
Oh wow, that's a good question. I guess I would have to say, because you said living or dead, and it would be amazing to have been able to meet her. I would say Patsy Cline.
Yes. We just saw her exhibit over at the Country Music Hall of Fame the other day.
Isn't it wonderful?
My mom listened to that when I was growing up too, so
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
Is there one of her songs that kind of hits the most for you? That would be the song you would want to sing with her on?
Gosh, there's so many. I guess what's coming to my mind is She's Got You. I don't know. There's a lot of, Patsy's songs, and just the way that she sang with so much feeling and emotion. I just love all of her.
Now, how about someone that you would love to tour with that's out right now? There's someone that you would love to like go on tour with and sort of be inspired by or look up to, someone you look up to or
I mean, there are so many great artists out right now that, I mean, I'd be happy to tour with most everybody that's out right now. But I tend to say that I would like to go on the road with Jason Aldean because I actually have used some of the same guys that he uses on his projects on mine, and we're just both country rockers, and so I think it'd be fun to get us out there on the road together.
Now, in this industry, you have to have kind of the it factor and all of that. But what would you say is the one kind of fun fact or unique thing that fans or anyone might not know about you that you think is, kind of cool that you would want to share?
I mean, I think everybody has a few different things. At least you hope so as an artist, that there's a number of things that make you, who you are. I mean, I'm a country rocker, but on top of that, I really like to go out line dancing with my girlfriends. It's a hobby that we've started to incorporate into my music. So now, instead of just releasing songs to radio, which is great, and that's what we all do, but I also release songs to clubs so that they can dance to them. And so, last year I had a song called Party Till the Cows Come Home, which was actually for both, but this year we have one that's called Out on the Floor that we're releasing to the clubs. We're not even pushing it to radio, it's just for the clubs so that they can get out there and dance to it. And so that's kind of a fun thing.
now I'm sorry. You keep mentioning your style's country rock. Now, how would you describe, your music? Is that how you describe it to people? It's like a country rock mix?
Yeah, I think that if I have to, in a few words describe my music, I say it's country rock, because that's just the easiest, most
General area.
all-inclusive way to say it.
Now,
I'm sorry.
you've had some songs that are out on the radio, and you also have another big single coming out in a couple weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, my new single is called Fishin' for Something, and it's a lot of fun. I wrote it with one of my best girlfriends, and it's one of those ideas that she came in and we're tossing ideas back and forth. I have this song idea, we could write that. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, what do you have? And she said, how we go out to the clubs and there's always that guy that's like, I was thinking we could do something like this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to write this song. I mean, and that was one that, as soon as she gave me the idea, we just started bouncing ideas back and forth. So it was fun even writing the song. And then I've gotten out on the road and I've been, playing it for fans and people who were hearing it who hadn't had any access to it before. By the end of the song, I had fans going, fishing for something that, and they're all getting sassy with it. And I'm like, yes. So it's really exciting. Sirius XM's already been playing it a lot, and we're going to go for radio ads on June 24.
Yeah,
So.
we love this song, so I'm excited to hear it on the regular radio too.
Yeah.
So.
How's that? Are you is there any preparation or any, to know that your song's going to hit the big, the radio soon? And is that, or even just hearing it, when you turn on your car and you hear your song, how's that feeling?
I guess that at some point, there's some level where people, maybe it's not as exciting, but I don't know when that will ever happen because every time I get to hear my song on the radio, I get giddy like a schoolgirl.
We would
just
say,
think,
yeah.
Well, that's probably the same reaction you had too with the Artist to Watch for 2013 award. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that was very humbling and honoring at the same time.
Now, your friends and family, how are they dealing with all of this now? You're being played on the radio, and pretty soon we'll probably see you with Jason Aldean opening up for him.
I hope so. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm really blessed because I have a very supportive family. And, from the time I was a little girl, they've all been my biggest fans. My mom and my dad have always been totally supportive. I mean, they're not they're not professional musicians. My dad does play guitar and stuff, but they knew that was my dream, so they have helped me out in any way that I've ever asked, which has just been amazing. And my sister goes out on the road with me and sings backgrounds for me. You actually can hear her singing backgrounds on the new single. So she actually recorded the backgrounds on that.
It's nice, make it a family affair.
Yes.
It makes it more comforting and not as crazy.
Yeah, you got to keep people around you that keep you grounded, and who better to do that than your family?
Right.
Now, if you weren't doing music, where would you be today? What do you think you would be doing?
I would be doing music.
Do you think maybe if you weren't an artist, would you be kind of producing in the background in the studio, or
Writing songs?
I am a songwriter as well. So I guess if it if I wasn't an artist, but I am, like, but if I
Can't
wasn't
imagine
an
anything
artist,
else.
yeah, I can't really imagine anything else. But if I wasn't on the stage, I would be writing the songs, and I just can't even imagine not being an artist.
That's great. And along with this other style question, we write a lot about fashion and beauty on our blog, and we have a large audience for that. So, what is your fashion? What's your style? What would you say? What would you call it?
Well, that's so funny that you asked me that. I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, at its base, it's country rock. When I'm on stage, I'm usually wearing a pair of cowboy boots, jeans, a rack T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right? Today it's Kiss. Yesterday it was like the Rolling Stones or something. Uh, I like to stack a lot of bracelets and wear headbands. So it's almost like country rock meets a little bit of like almost hippie or like
Yeah.
70s. I don't
Now,
know.
when you're like on the red carpet, when you go on the red carpet and you have to dress up, now do you add a little bit of yourself in there? Because a little bit of rock, a little bit of edge. Do you like to add a little bit of that into your style?
I do. Like one time I have this clutch that's like a black leather clutch that has spikes, kind of like this on it. So it was kind of like still I'm chic, but I still am a rocker.
You're still yourself. You gotta stay true to yourself.
now what's the one thing that you always have to have with you on tour, on the road? You can't leave home without it.
One thing. Well, I mean, obviously my guitar.
Well, I guess personal items. Nothing you would need for the show, or no cell phone.
Okay.
Those are
Those are a given. Those
standard.
are everybody things. um, my Bible. Yeah. Because if you don't bring that on the road, then you need some encouragement. You need to have that there.
And for anyone that might be trying to break into the business, or maybe want to, songwriting, or artist, performing wise, what is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
If you're trying to break into the business, it's all about networking and it's all about the song. So the best way to do both of those things is to co-write like crazy. And I know when I came into town, I was like, I don't need to be co-writing. I write by myself. I've been writing by myself since I was 12. But I had a professor actually that was like, look, I don't care if you can write a song by yourself. You need to start writing with other people because it'll broaden your spectrum and it'll be a great networking tool. So I'm so glad that I listened to him because I've had some of the coolest songs come out of co-writes and also some of the best relationships and networking relationships as well.
Now, as we touched on earlier, you have this single dropping in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
What's next after the single?
Pushing the single. It's all about fishing for something right now. So it's a lot of radio tour where I'm going out and I'm spending time with radio people. I'm playing them the song. They're getting to know me, getting to feel comfortable supporting me as an artist because they need to know that if they're going to play a song that you're going to be around for a little bit. So they need to know who they're supporting. So I'm going around meeting radio and sneaking in shows here and there. I'll actually be in France in August.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Isn't that weird and awesome? Yeah, they actually have a big rodeo over there that they're bringing me over for.
So you're working on your French now?
I need to start.
I'll just bonjour. That's all you need.
Yes.
Well, best of luck with everything coming up. It sounds really exciting, and we look forward to seeing what's next from you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.